Welcome back to You Can Do It. Today we're working on a VW T5, it's 5.2 actually, but we're talking about the under tray. So we're going to put the under tray back on, but as is normal with these things, they shear some of these bolts off because if the under tray hasn't been off for a long time, those bolts are up underneath there, they get salt and rusted, and you go to take them off and they shear off. So if you've got one that's really stiff, just work at it really slowly. Now this has had one that's been sheared off for years and it's just been bugging me, so today we are going to show you how we take out the old one and put a new one in. Now I did try to weld a nut on the one down underneath, which I'll show you in a minute, and that didn't really work, so we're going to have to try the good old drill it out type method. So let's go straight underneath and I'll show you the problem. Right, we're underneath here, look, and you can see there, that's the old one that's sheared off, and there's a little bit of a stub there, and I thought that was enough for me to weld onto, but I just couldn't seem to get it to touch. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to get a grinder. These are M8s, so what we're going to do is get a grinder and we're going to just grind a sort of flat surface on there, and then we'll take it from there. So let me get my angle grinder on there. All right, so we've ground a flat surface on there. So now what I'm going to do is take a dot punch and we're going to put a dot right in the middle of that. Now it's not the middle of where the grind is, because you've got to think about this circular here. So let me just put a dot in the middle of that. That's a dot punch. I've put a punch there, look, in the middle of that. So now what we're going to do is we'll go and get let's go and get my drill. All right, I've got a fairly small drill. You don't want to start with a big one. I've got a small drill on there, and we'll start drilling. We've done that. We've drilled that all the way through there. Now, if you get the drill at a sort of slowish speed, then you should get all these like bits coming off like that. And if your drill bit's not sharp, just run it across on the angle grinder, get your edges on there, and you get a nice sharp drill bit. And I'll just push that up there. Now it's quite difficult with your hands, so I've actually had my knee like that, and I had the drill like that with the knee then, so I could lift it up like that, and that was a bit easier to push that up. So now we've done the first pilot hole, so I can just now do one, maybe 6mm. Don't start with a 6mm because it will take you forever to drill it up. Just be gentle with a little drill, and then the next one's really easy. Well, I'm going to do 4.5 and then I'm going to do a 6. Okay. All right, this is with the 4.5. I'll try and give you a demonstration. Knee there, so I'll get a bit of force. Good training this, and then not too fast. Look. All right, you can tell these are real videos, live. That's just snapped off in there. Thank God it snapped there rather than lowering off. But you've got to be really careful. That grabbed when it went through the last hole, when it went through the end of the bolt, and just snapped. So hopefully I can get some pliers on there and get that out. Got that bit out there, look. So that's binned. Now I'll start again with the 6mm. Look, so I had a bit of luck there because I've drilling that out and then suddenly the actual bolt started spinning. So hopefully if I keep going, that might actually completely unspin itself. Right, so what indeed happened was as I was drilling it through there, the thing started unscrewing and screwed itself out. So that's now going to be rattling around in here. So that's not a problem. But what we will do is I'll show you as if that didn't unspin. So now we've got a 6mm drill bit hole in there. What we'll do is we'll get our 8mm tap and we'll run a tap up there and make sure that's all nice and clean. So I've got a 8mm tap there, got the starter tap. So I'll just put that in there. And we'll just, well, it should be fairly good because the bolt came out. So look, that's in there, all right. It's just put there. What I'm going to do now is just get the finishing one. They're slightly different. They get thicker. For those of you who don't know, look, the starter one is like chamfered on there, and a finishing one has got just a very small chamfer on the end. See the difference? All right, look, I've got the finishing one in. Look, that's a lot. You can see that's tighter. It's just cleaning those threads up. So if the bolt hadn't have spun out, what was left of it, you'd have had to tap this first of all with the starter, then the middle, and then the end like that. Oh, I've got a bolt here just to quickly test it. It's been annoying me this. I've had this like this for about 4 or 5 years, and it's just really bugs me. I don't know, sometimes you get these little things like this and it's not a necessity, but it just bugs me that it's not fixed. Now where's my bolt? There's a bolt. Yeah, look at that, fits in there lovely. There we are. what we'll do is I'll just go around and do all the other bolt holes with my tap, make sure it's good, and then I can put my blooming under tray up. But that, family and friends, is how you sort out a sheared bolt in your subframe for your engine under tray. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you like the channel, please subscribe, send me a comment, and just remember the most important bit: you can do it, even with a broken glove.